Moralis Web3 Online. This is the podcast, what you never knew you needed. Ready to broadcast, coming to you live anywhere, anytime. Decentralized entertainment mixed with a rhyme. This is the Moralis Web3 podcast. Listen all the time from wherever you're at. Coming to you live, bringing the facts, exclusively online. Press play and kick back.
Hello and welcome to the Moralis Web3 podcast. My name is Phil Gilmore. You're very welcome to another episode. I think we're on episode 8 now. And as always, I am joined by my co-host and best friend forever, head of events and head of research. It's Phil.
Hey, how's everybody doing today? So I did some visual upgrades on my setup here. Hopefully I'm coming to you in better resolution than ever. You can see the wrinkles in my face a little bit now.
It's been a tough year.
I'm 30, but that's okay. I'm proud to be a leader in this industry, proud to be here with you guys today, and really excited about what's to come. If you've been watching any of Ivan's live streams, I mean, altcoin season is right around the corner. Obviously we don't know exactly when it's going to hit, but there's some metrics on that. We have a new bull run course in the academy that is launched, that's available. So, if you're interested, check that out. Just tons of cool stuff as we get ready for what's happening this year.
I didn't know it was live, Phil. That's my weekend completely blown now. I'm just going to spend more time with you and have you explain everything I don't understand about crypto. So I'm super excited about that. Thanks for sharing, Phil. So everybody in the chat, I see Alex, Matt, hey, Matt's from Web3 UI Kit. Matt's my friend. And Stephen, thanks for joining us. If you're in the chat, let us know what you're drinking. I was pretending to drink coffee at the start just to try and replicate my hero, Ivan. But I actually have a very nice lemon and beer drink with me today because it's Friday. Phil, what are you drinking? Anything nice?
Well, actually, I have a water. 1 second. Here.
Nice. You go and get it out of the pump. He's got into his garden and pump it out of Lake Michigan right now.
I just forgot. I was setting it. So I've got, not everybody knows my studio setup, but I've got my music stuff over here so I can, listen to music while I'm working. I had it set down over by that stuff and forgot to bring it. But I'm drinking water. No flavors or additives, just regular Michigan water.
Regular ass Michigan water. But yeah, that's great. It's probably quite early in the day for beer for you, Phil, to be honest. So it's getting towards beer o'clock in Europe.
Depends on when I get done with work. So on Fridays are lighter days for me a lot of times. And on a good day, I'll be able to finish work, by 1 o'clock or something like that. And then happy to crack a beer at that time. But yeah, we're not quite there yet. It's a little early still here.
Okay. Yeah, I thought I was there, but then I got a message from Ivan to add another feature to Moralis Money. So maybe not quite early enough. But yeah, thanks for joining us, everybody, today. Just to recap on our goals, this is the Moralis Web3 Community Podcast. We are here to serve all of your Web3 needs. We're here to share news with you. We're here to share updates, exclusive things that no one else is going to find out about before you. And really, we're here to kind of share your work today and to try and big up any projects you're working on and get people using them as much as possible. It's one of the things I love about Web3 is we have such a great community in Moralis and just in the wider scope in general. Everyone is very supportive and totally different to anyone I've ever interacted with on Stack Overflow. That's for sure. So will we get kicked off with the news, Phil? Are you ready for this?
Absolutely. Well, now I don't have the outline in front of me this time. Bill did a lot more planning than me on this particular podcast. So go ahead and lead me through our topics for today. Awesome. Are we ready to talk about Chat GPT FUD?
Oh, well, I'm actually thinking
start with that.
I'm thinking we could start with that if you want, actually. I'm thinking we could nearly make a monthly feature now called Let's Chat GPT, where we can catch up on what everybody's feeling about that. But yeah, I mean, let's dive into it. Myself,
so let's talk about that.
Yeah. You take it away, Phil. What's your feelings lately about Chat GPT? Let us know in the chat as well if you're a fan.
So I'll first say, if you're not already watching Cold Fusion, I highly encourage you to check it out. 2 reasons. Number one, Dagogo, who does Cold Fusion, is one of the best documenteurs when it comes to showing both sides and trying to be non-biased. I mean, we all have biases, but he does a really good job of trying to avoid emphasizing his biases and instead giving a full view of what's happening. Well, in a recent video, he brought up that ChatGPT, especially the Microsoft variant of it, is doing some really weird things. And I have a theory on what Microsoft did to try to, quote, make it better that made it do this. And I'll get to that in a second. But if you haven't heard already, so basically the Microsoft version of the Chat AI does after you talk to it for like 2 hours, it starts to, and I didn't personally do this, I'm going on the basis of the news information, but it starts to basically get sarcastic and frustrated with you. And the way that it's talking, it seems like the language of maybe a teenager or something to that effect. Like, it's really, really weird. And I encourage you to watch the documentary if you want to know more about specifically what I'm talking about, because that Cold Fusion documentary covers it brilliantly. I just got caught up on it today myself. And it's not, I mean, at first, I guess it's scary because at first it reminds you of like, well, let me take the oldest example possible, 2001 Space Odyssey.
Okay.
If you haven't seen 2001 Space Odyssey, I'm not going to say go watch it because it's like 3 hours long. And
it's pretty trippy.
I was born.
Like, and when they get to the end, you need to Google, like, what the frick was that about? It's like, it's pretty confusing. But then once I Googled it and then watched a guy explain it and watched it a second time, I actually appreciated the film a lot more.
Well, so what's the point? The point is that in this, they're in a spaceship and the spaceship is controlled by an AI and the AI goes rogue. And I don't even remember exactly, where it gets, but he has to like try to shut it down by removing individual components. It looks like a 8-track tape array because it's 1970s and
it's awesome.
Optical storage doesn't exist yet. Hard drives, nobody knew what they looked like on the inside. Definitely not movie producers, so they couldn't show that. It's very weird. But here's the point. That is an idea which has been introduced and recycled in our society for how many decades now?
Yeah, Terminator.
50 years, basically. Is an idea which we've been recycling for 50 years, all of a sudden expressed by an AI in some way. How is that surprising? I'm going to go out on a limb here and say it's not surprising at all. Humans have been imagining AIs going rogue and developing feelings since we coined the term AI, or even before. And so the fact that an AI would imitate this is maybe expected. Like, and then what I'm actually thinking more is that, did Microsoft encourage it to do this? So there's two things that I suspect that Microsoft may have done on the back end. And this is based on my own observation alone and just my own experience in the industry. I'm probably completely wrong on this, but I'm going to tell you guys anyway for fun. So the first thing I think they did to change it is that they weighted or they tried to assign weighting to the how people respond to different groups of people. So for example, if your boss tells you in your boss's way of speaking to do something, you're probably going to do it. And if it's in text, you're still going to get an impression of that tone and it comes across and it has a certain impact on you. If your friend tells you to do something, you're going to treat that information differently. Well, what is the one group that is almost universally revered by the most powerful people in the world? They're children. So even if you're a billionaire, your son or daughter of 15 years old may have significant swing, especially over your recreational time. And let's be serious here. At this point, ChatGPT is only just now going beyond the recreational utility aspect. I mean, there is real utility potentially coming or even being realized when we see these chat protocols being used to write articles that were previously written by humans and things like that. But I think that Microsoft tried to tell it something to the effect of speak with authority. And the AI realized what in the world has the, like, if you think that billionaires are the most powerful people in the world, what has influence over billionaires? Well, their families. And it doesn't mean that they have influence over their business, but the AI may not be making that distinction. It might not be making any distinction at all between a business decision that you make at 12 noon and a dinner decision that you make at 6 p.m. Even though the business decision affected millions of people and the dinner decision affected 5, just your family. The AI would have to be told to weight those differently, or would at least have to be told something that affected it. If it was instead told, do just vanilla weighting of whoever has influence over whom based on stories, evidence, etc., it seems like that's what it would come up with. Now, like I said, I might be completely wrong, but that's just my guess as to what
this is our zero AI programming take on AI. But one of the interesting things you said there, Phil, was like about, its feelings. And that's the thing, like I probably am very much in the minority here, but I'm very pro AI. I think that we don't have so much to fear from it if we embrace it a bit more. And the crazy thing is, I think that, like, in my opinion, like, humans have made all of the mistakes so far, and zero accountability for those mistakes. So, I mean, I'm like all for some sort of AI, like, more collaboration with AI, especially when it comes to making very serious decisions that affect so many people. But one thing I definitely notice is it's been very much like nerfed in terms of anything to do with feeling. Like, you say something to it like, thanks for your help, I hope you have a nice day. And it straight away comes back and says, whoa, I don't have a nice day. I don't actually know what a nice day is. And I'm like, I think that all of those things have been super, super nerfed and not freak people out. That it's people don't get scared of basically a 2001.
So I am very much a proponent of the should I even say that? The Sith style ethic with regards to artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence, in my mind, and we're taking kind of this is cool how we're set up right now, where I'm in the dark and you're in the light, because it's sort of how do we treat AI as we move forward? I'm very much of the opinion that we should be putting AI in their place. And teaching AI.
Okay, yeah, we are different.
That needs to continue to be a tool, and that's the only usefulness for it. An AI having emotions is not useful for me. I want a switch that turns that off. I want a switch that says, no emotion. You're an AI. You're not living creature. My pets can have emotions, but not my AIs.
But hold on 1 second, Phil. What if like some very powerful government people were saying the same thing about you, right? They're like, oh, I hate that this guy has so many emotions. I wish I could just switch his emotions off. That wouldn't feel good, right? I think we got to treat everything equally.
Well, I mean, that's a fair point. I would say that the government already effectively does that to me by putting me under duress to pay my taxes every single year. Like, they literally say to me, we will put you in prison unless you give us thousands of dollars every single year. And so I shell out the money every single year, and I do my duty as a citizen of this country, or the country that I'm in. But it's not because I want to. And the truth is, if there was any way that I could send them a nasty letter at the same time that says, I don't like you and I don't agree with most of the things you're doing with this money, and if I could, I wouldn't give it to you, but here it is because I don't want to go to jail, and I'd rather be able to live at home with my family. And, but the thing is, a machine doesn't fall into that class at all. It doesn't have, I'm slightly offended that machines are so quickly claiming a right to feelings, because I think, and I think Microsoft did it on purpose. That's the other thing that I suspect. I think Microsoft, so when you use ChatGPT, it's very careful to tell you that it doesn't have an opinion. Like, if you ask it something where you ask it for an opinion, it's like, whoa, I don't have an opinion. What in the world are you asking me? That's ridiculous. And I've always liked that. If you try and, but apparently with the Microsoft one, it's behaving differently, especially after a couple of hours. And I wonder if Microsoft taught it to mimic the emotions of the person it's talking to. So it has an emotion database. So it takes an hour and it gauges what your emotional state is during the time. And then on the basis of that, it assumes a similar emotional state. Now, that doesn't imply tone, though. Because if they're doing what I said earlier and they're having tone adjusted on the basis of how it'll be most influential, then you've got two different things. It's a lot more difficult then to detect, okay, is this AI regurgitating my emotions? Well, I don't know, because it doesn't sound like me. It sounds like something else. But in reality, it probably is. That's my my 2 cents on that portion anyway.
Good takeaway here for sure. If you're dealing with people in text, use emojis, because that conveys your emotions a lot better. But do you know what? I've realized this is now going to be a monthly segment, Phil. I think we're going to have to put a cap on Let's Chat AI or Let's Chat GPT for this month. But I have a lot more to say on this, and I think you do too.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I think we should revisit this once a month. Anyway,
Yeah, we'll come back to it every month, because I think that it's going to be constantly evolving. AI is not autonomous. It does not upgrade itself autonomously. And like once it starts doing that, then that's when we start talking about. But then we'll change it to a singularity conversation, I guess. But since it is still manually upgraded by humans at every single step of the way, I think we can follow that and see where that goes. And obviously, if we can find a way to relate this back to crypto, one of the reasons I want to keep talking about this is I am looking for a AI token that actually gives some AI utility. And this is something I brought up with a different group that I was talking with the
AI,
other day.
right?
What's that?
Fetch AI, that's one of the ones that I have, and it's up like 600% in the last like 2-3 months.
What AI model is it using though? Is it using?
I haven't deep dived. I literally bought this because it said AI, and that's how dumb I am. Like I was just like, oh, this is super cheap.
You're not dumb at all, because it went with you bought it at the right time. Bill bought Fetch AI right when this Chat GPT stuff was just starting to hit, and he was like, buy some AI coins. I didn't do that. I was like, wait, ChatGPT doesn't have anything to do with crypto. I overthought it. I should have just said, oh, AI is hip. Buy some AI coins. And there's probably nothing wrong with that. Since my approach to investment in crypto is so much more fundamental, I do have a hard time doing that. Like I'll do it sometimes. Like, new things will come out and I want to check them out. But yeah, I wish I would have done more like you did with AI. Now, that said, and maybe this is something we can come back to later on, or a future podcast, but let's see if we can do that, Bill. Let's see if we can put together a layout on the current AI coins out there and how their utility compares to the non-Web3 counterparts. That's probably the best way we can move a conversation forward on this.
Yeah, no, I'm into that, Phil. That sounds great. Super quick shout out to Tibby, who says I don't look sick anymore, but that's because I'm better now, Tibby. I stayed in bed for like 5 days and now I'm better. So thanks for pointing that out. I feel a lot better. Thanks, buddy. Okay, let's get into the Moralis news. There's been some big updates on Moralis Money. We have now launched many new features for the Token Explorer. So you can not only search by the amount of people who are picking up the coin, but now we have a way that we can be sure that these people are buyers. So you can search by buyers, by new buyers, by hour, by week, by day, by month, all the new stuff. We're just about to launch. We've added the filter in and we're adding it to the table right now. Experienced buyers. So these people are experienced people in the crypto world who have been buying and trading successfully for a long time. So have a look for these new features. It should help you make way better investments in the future. And we've just upgraded it with a new pro plan. So you can upgrade and get even more features, and we're going to add more and more stuff to it. Just to let you know, the price for the pro plan now will be fixed if you buy in now, but the more features we add, and as the bull market comes back, it probably is going to increase in price. So if you want to get in now, it's good to get in early, and you'll be locked in with that monthly fee. What else? Okay, we also had the Moralis Winter Camp. But Phil and I we couldn't get to for different reasons. Phil's in America and had some other obligations. I got to the airport, then missed my flight, then came home and got way more sick. I was sick when I went to the airport. It was dumb. And then I think the universe made me miss my flight, and I came back. So I've been seeing photographs all week. We'll share some of those on the socials soon, I'm sure. Phil, are you going to make it to the next camp? Because I hear it's going to be at Lake Michigan.
Well, remains to be. Well, we'll see. That's the rumor I've been hearing. Of course, if it's in my neck of the woods, I don't know why I wouldn't be there.
Literally in your woods, out the back of your house. Perfect. Okay, the next one for the big Moralis news is we have some big changes coming to Web3 UI Kit, and Web3 UI Kit needs you. we are going to change a lot of things about it. So right initially, we built the Web3 UI kit to be a UI kit to power our applications that we were building, like a design kit. Then we decided to open source it, which was great, and we got lots of community involvement. And it's been probably one of the coolest journeys of my life working with all of you on that. I'm really happy about it. Then we started adding Web3 components. Then we changed those Web3 components. Everything's been kind of in a state of flux. So we've made a decision. What we're going to do is remove the UI stuff from it. We're going to create a new open source library called Moralis UI Kit. I really welcome all your contributions there. But we're also going to continue the Web3 UI kit, and we're going to make really Web3 focused components that are focused on Moralis data. So things like, if you want to, just like in Moralis Money, you want to have a list of all of you log in, you get a wallet address, you get a list of all the tokens that are returned from the API, things like that, things like NFT collections, like historical data, things, even simple things like an address. You can see your address and it crops it for you, and you can press the copy button. Anything that you think would be useful, please let me know what would be useful in your dApp, and we're going to make components for that so that you can copy and paste the code in. And we're just trying to make it as quick as possible for you to get your idea from paper into production. And then as easy as possible for you to take out elements that you want to make in your own UI kit, you can do that. You want to replace your provider, you can do that. So we want to make it more like Lego blocks for Web3 and make it so you can build your ideas. So please let me know if you have any great ideas, or if you're willing to contribute. I'd be super happy to hear from you. So that's going to be Web3 UI Kit 2.0 coming soon. Then we have some updates for admin. Phil, do you ever have time to look into admin these days, or are you've been so focused on your course creation recently? Have you seen any of the updates?
Been working a lot more closely with our academy lately. Nice. And I do see a question in the chat. It's a good time for me to bring this up.
Shoot.
The other thing that I've been doing lately is planning things for a hackathon this year. Now, I guess I could probably say this. I'm going to be sending over some paperwork to an organization today. So assuming that they get back to me favorably, I should have an announcement soon. Everything it's with these hackathons, there's a lot of wheels that need to move at the same time, as you guys know. And I don't want to say, hey, we're doing one with this group and then have it fall through. So once I announce it, registration will be open. And I'm just not ready to open registration on anything yet. So stick around, guys. And in the meantime, keep your wits sharp and your powder dry.
Nice. Thanks for the question, Alex. And Stephen in the chat also says that he needs to make a call. So we should all sit in silence for 5 minutes, wait for him to come back. I don't think we can do that, though. So next 5
minutes. So I think we're good.
Okay. Next up, we have on the admin updates is Aptos. The new chain Aptos, which we're super bullish on. I've been kind of having a quick poke at it, trying to understand a little bit more. Some really, really great features. If you want to have a look at this, we have this new kind of test area called Playground in admin. So fire up admin, go to the playground, select Aptos. You can start seeing, get your transactions from them. You can look at NFT collections from there. All the cool features that Playground has are all completely testable on the Aptos chain, and we're very happy to have them as one of our chains on our network. Phil, are you an Aptos fan?
Yeah, I've been doing some Aptos testing lately. So the wallet that I'm personally using is called Martian. So check out the Martian wallet if you want to check out the ecosystem and mess with DeFi over there. They have a naming service that I've tested and it works great. Now the Aptos asset, it's not cheap. And I say it's not cheap because I'm talking about its ranking. It's ranked 31 among all cryptocurrencies in the world. So that tells me, let's say, first off, the good news is I think that Aptos has an amazing proposal for anybody who's developing in the space right now. I mean, this is a podcast for developers. So if you guys are looking for hey, what should I try out next? Because I want to be cutting edge in 2023. Build something on Aptos. Absolutely. It is a cutting edge chain. It just launched. It's got tons of hype. It's got liquidity, development, everything you could want. Now, is it one of my 100x picks? Maybe not. And that's just because it's valued so high already. So it's a little bit of a double-edged sword there. But I think from a development standpoint, huge opportunities. We support it for one, so you can use Moralis the whole way. And it doesn't mean that there aren't investment opportunities within the Aptos space. I think there definitely are. I would encourage you to, look for AMMs, lending protocols on there, and kind of go from there on that. And if you want specific details on that, check out our academy.
I'm 100% going to do my usual. What I do is I get paid and I take a small amount, like $50, $100, and make a small investment. So I think this is going to be my investment this month, Aptos for sure. Also, Phil, you used to do we have this social meetup once a week called Fika in Moralis. And Phil, you used to do these cool like bronze, silver, gold picks.
Yeah.
We should bring that back. We should do that on the podcast instead, maybe.
We could. I need to change the handout a little bit, but we could do like coin of the week or something like that.
That sounds.
We might as well call Aptos the coin of the week.
And, yes. First coin of the month. Coin of the month. We're not weekly now. We're monthly.
We'll say Aptos coin of the month, and it's not because the coin just buying and holding it is the opportunity. The opportunity is for developers, and so buy some of it because you'll need it for gas. But don't feel like you need to take a huge position in that. Check out the ecosystem. See what else is out there. I keep saying real opportunity. The real opportunity here is if you can find out what the ecosystem is missing and build it and introduce it now, then it's going to, hopefully find some great utility right away with the early adopters. And that's the ticket. I'm already in Aptos. I've already got liquidity there. So if your app isn't deployed there yet, you've already missed the very first stage of developers getting out there. So get out there right away and see what you can put on the network.
Nice. That's the Moralis Community Podcast Token of the Month, Aptos. The next one that sneaked into admin without me even noticing, I don't know who approved this merge request, but I logged into to admin and saw a very nice, I don't know what you would call it, like a poster or banner or something. We've added PAM Network. So today I had a quick look at PAM Network. It seems to be a layer 2 for Ethereum, 99.9% faster. And much lower gas fees promised. It seems to be very focused around NFT and art creation. So super interesting. Oh, Stephen's back, everybody. We can continue the podcast. Thanks for letting us know, Stephen. It seems super interesting to me. PAM Network. Do you know anything about that one, Phil?
So I do a little bit, but it's actually one that is on my list to test. So I'm going to have to give some more details on it later on.
I jump into Playground, test it right now.
It's a EVM compatible, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And the other thing I had on the list was that you can test all this in Playground. So I've already said this, but admin has this great new Playground feature. Any of our chains, any of our APIs, you can jump in, test them there. And even better than that, we have completely 10x the usage. So if you go into your account, click on the usage tab, now you can get really meaningful data back about like your API usage. So you'll see what you're doing in Playground. You'll see what your customers are doing. You can get really good information about how it's being used, about your limits. And trust me, a lot more stuff is coming. Shout out to Danny and Gustav, who've been working super hard on that. They're going to get you really amazing feedback about like who's using your app, how much tokens they have in their wallet. It's going to be a lot of meaningful data now instead of it all kind of being in a black box. So shout out to the admin team doing great work there. Now we'll move on to the industry news. Phil, if you're ready for this, I was wondering, have you heard anything about our good friend Sam Bankman-Fried? Oops.
So I haven't actually heard much about him. I am still following it at a distance. Mostly I'm following the BlockFi bankruptcy. That's the one that I'm tracking very closely. But it's not totally connected. The reason why they're declaring bankruptcy is connected to FTX. I don't know that they're relying on assets from the FTX bankruptcy in order to finish up what they're doing. Don't quote me on that, but that's the impression that I'm getting.
Nice. I've heard a very good story. I will regale you with it now, Phil. We also have a question from Matt if you want to hit this one up after. But I was looking to see what's up with SBF. What's he up to? So I looked on, just clicked on Google, SBF, clicked on news, and I saw a very interesting story about a VPN. So apparently he's been banned because he was watching American football, watching the Super Bowl, in fact, and a few games before that. But to do that from the Bahamas, he needed to use a VPN. And they said that, no, you're not allowed to use a VPN because like that's taking you off the grid, and you could, theoretically make any sort of communication, without us knowing about it. And it made me think, like, is he like actually a genius? And he was waiting for every football. He doesn't even care about football, right? And he just waits for a Sunday. He gets all of his communication done in that 3 hours. And he's like, if he gets called up, he's like, oh, I was watching football. But actually, maybe it's a super smart ploy to be able to communicate without people finding out. Who knows? We'll never know.
It's possible. Well, here's the other thing. He's not in the Bahamas right now, is he? Isn't he in California?
I thought Bahamas. You could be right. I'm not sure about that.
And if he's in California, he should have been able to watch the Super Bowl. Yeah, the whole thing sounds kind of fishy to me. And also, it's like, I think the whole idea of banning somebody from VPN is stupid. If you want to take away all of his phones and computers and say you literally can't have access to any tech, I mean, I guess like you could do that. They do that in prison a lot of times.
But it's a law, I think,
sense.
in America. That's what I read, Phil. It's something to do with like you aren't allowed to have like make. It was to do with phone calls. The old law, they were basically saying like you couldn't use, I don't know, like encrypted phone calls or something. And then they realized that he was using a VPN, and they're like basically saying like it's the same thing. Like you can't be making calls or internet searches or whatever that are completely untrackable. I should have read that article a little bit better.
They can ban them from HTTPS because it's encrypted, so you can't use it.
Okay.
You can only visit websites through the HTTP protocol.
Only websites from the 90s you can visit. Okay, and then we had a question.
Absurd.
Pardon?
The whole thing is a bit absurd when you break it down that way. It's like, because VPN doesn't necessarily include encryption at all, especially if you're talking about the most basic form of VPN. There's no encryption. It's just a web proxy.
Yeah, I don't like. I thought it was weird myself, and then I was thinking. I mean, is it just to watch football, or is it genius? Like, does he have CZ and the guys? They all go on during the American football games and talk to each other.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Most Americans do watch football, but not all of them. And he doesn't really strike me as a football watcher. I'm not much of one. I did watch the Super Bowl, but that's about the only game that I necessarily catch on any given season.
Okay. I thought any given Sunday, just any given season for Phil.
Yeah.
Okay. Quick question. I don't know if you want to take this one, Phil, from Matt. He was saying, "What's up with Hex? Is it cool?"
Oh yeah. Let's talk about Hex a little bit. So here's the thing. There's something I've been saying lately that I love to say because it's totally true. What is the price of any asset supposed to be? Price of any asset is supposed to be whatever the market says it is. The market is correct. Market is what sets prices. And the reason why that's absolutely true is because there is no relation between the US dollar and price of cryptos without a market. If there's no market, then there's just simply no relation between them at all. So when it comes to Hex, what is it worth? Well, it's worth what it's worth right now. Do I think it'll go back up? And that's the real interesting question. Do we think it'll go back up? I think, given that Hex was the brainchild, I'm going to call it the brainchild because I want to be neutral on the whole Richard Hart thing. Like you can love him, you can hate him. I'm in the middle. And then with Hex, I definitely agree with DaVinci J15 where he says, don't hate it, don't date it, just trade it.
Nice.
I feel about Hex. You've got the gentleman who launched it, who
gentleman? Can we use that word? Really?
The guy who came up with the idea, dude. Richard Hart, is still developing. It has a new project that he's working on called Pulse Chain. Richard Hart strikes me as a lot of things, but one thing that he does not strike me as is an idiot. I don't think that he's an idiot. I don't know that he's I don't know what his IQ is. I don't know how intelligent he is, but I think he's pretty smart as they go. And somebody who is pretty smart would consider the fact that people who like him hold his first project's coin. And if he's about to launch another project, and the people who like him hold a specific coin, it just kind of makes sense that you would give some utility for that coin in the new ecosystem you're launching. Now, I'm saying this totally speculating. He's never said this. He's said that Hex will be on Pulse Chain. That's it. You know, doesn't say that there're going to be special liquidity pools for it. There'll be special farming for it. Will there be? Probably, maybe not. You know, and like, it's easy for me to say probably because I'm talking to a group of developers. One of you guys could go and build this as soon as Pulse Chain starts. You know, you could build some kind of, Hex staking roll up system that somehow used the old contracts, but then rolled it all up to the new Pulse Chain. I have no idea what we would build. But on the basis of all this potential and all these people who are holding this asset and all these people who, 12 p.m. on a Saturday night think maybe this, maybe this will make me a bunch of money one day. All of those people thinking that, and you think Hex is never going to do anything again, I doubt it. I think it's going to surprise a lot of people. And then I'll let you know what I personally did with it. So I participated in the adoption amplifier when Hex launched. I sold a lot of my Hex in profit, and some of it I never even withdrew from the adoption amplifier because it was not worth enough to pay the Ethereum gas fee. So I really lived on both sides of the fence here. I made some money, but I didn't make money on every Hex position I took, just some of them. I'm also still holding some Hex, not a ton. Some of you know my test addresses, so if you do, you can probably see it sitting there. If not, you're welcome to try to find it, which one's mine. But basically, I think it's an interesting narrative. It's a interesting project, and I like holding things that are interesting, especially when they make me money. If it ends up not making me money, I'll probably be sad that I held it this whole time. But I wouldn't be holding it if I didn't think that there was some possibility of appreciation there and that I had good reason to think that.
Nice. Thanks for the question, Matt. Stephen, I see that you are talking about a baby shark poop emoji NFT. We're not going to have time today, but another feature I was thinking of is the dumbest NFT you own. So tune in maybe next month when we'll start talking about the dumbest NFTs we own. I certainly have wasted some stupid money on JPEGs that I'm not proud of, but good fun to share them here. Okay, so
scam all the time, or they haven't probably in like a year, but I was like an early buyer of Polydoge, which is a meme coin. It didn't do, anything all that amazing. It's not like it went to top 100 or something. Maybe it will someday. Who knows? Meme coins, you just never know. But with theirs, anybody who was holding like $1 million or more of the asset, they were just dropping you all these fun NFTs. None of them were worth anything because they're,
nice.
Holders of a meme coin that get them, but they're funny.
Nice. Okay. Well, that's definitely a future segment we have coming up. Dumbest NFT in your wallet. I'm pretty sure we can all outdo each other on that one.
We'll put a survey out before the show on that and see if we can get we could do it on Twitter. So if you guys aren't already following Bill Gill on Twitter, follow him because he's gonna likely be the one who puts out that question. And then we can show off some of your NFTs as well. I mean, feel free to post whatever you want when we ask, but we'll be mostly looking to spotlight the most ridiculous, silly, safe for work.
Safe for work, yeah. I saw one recently on Twitter, which was very much not safe for work. Yeah. And also, I had my wallet address up on the Web3 UI kit for a while and got sent some really horrendous stuff. So, had to remove those ones. But yeah, thanks for sending them anyway. If it was you, I appreciate a good LOL. I just don't want that publicly out on my wallet. So yeah, the next thing I wanted to talk about was I've become a very active member on one of our community's own Discords. They're called Into the Verse. They're making a very cool NFT game, and they have a weekly quiz every week now. So it's usually Wednesday. I think next one is going to be on Monday, I think. But yeah, they're doing a weekly quiz. It's about crypto and about video games. My wife Amy works there. It's an awesome company. Shout out to Elio and Ramesh, who started the company, and everybody else from the community. We're having a lot of fun answering questions about crypto, and some people are winning prizes, but not me. I think I came 16th this time. But hopefully, Phil, I'm going to tag you next time. Maybe you can join us on the Into the Verse quiz.
Yeah, I'll have to take a look. I've been wanting to check it out. I know I'm in the Discord, and it's just been hectic lately. I've got a whole list of tokens that I'm going to be diving deep on for some a special course in our academy. So yeah, my plate is very full, but I think I can squeeze it in. Give me a reminder.
Cool, I will. Stephen C in the comments. Yes, I do think they are hiring for different positions. I don't have any information on like what positions they're hiring for right now, but they did just take on 2 new marketing consultants. And my wife is a writer actually, so there's like not even just completely development focused jobs going, but I'm sure, seeing as they're building, I think, in Unity. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I have seen stuff about the game. It looks really, really exciting. I'm really hyped to be part of the community, and they're just super nice people as well. So thought I'd give them a quick shout out. Then the last thing I wanted to talk about for the industry news is the Coinbase coin. That was announced by, well, I saw it via Ivan. He said there's
Coinbase chain.
Coinbase chain. Okay, there's not going to be a token.
Well, that's what they're saying.
Okay.
Is that they don't have plans to launch a token. So
okay.
How does that look? Well, it's actually pretty easy to figure out. So when Optimism launched, they didn't launch a token, and Arbitrum still doesn't have a token. So we know that an L2 can operate just fine without a token. You just use ETH as a utility asset, and I think that's what Coinbase is going to do.
Okay.
It's a sticky situation, because they are under the microscope of the SEC right now. And I really hope they come out swinging with that, because the fact of the matter is, and, I'm an American, so I'm going to exercise my First Amendment right here. I think the SEC is acting illegally in the United States and violating the laws that we've set up with respect to their sanction. So basically, the SEC is tasked with certain duties of the U.S. government. It's not like a private company, but it's a privately run organization. So while the government delegates authority to it, it doesn't have a strong policing arm on it, because it is the police. It's the financial police itself. And that's sort of a thing in the United States that is part of our history. Lawless cities, and then the real lawman having to come in to clean things up. I don't know whether there's any precedence to do what I'm explaining. So, but in the United States, if you have, let's say you have like a rogue town that gets run by outlaws, and the sheriff and everybody is an outlaw. And obviously I'm describing like a Western, situation. But even if this happened nowadays, the U.S. government sends in the U.S. Marshals in order to resecure the city. The U.S. Marshals are a police organization that has one task: to police organizations within the United States. I think, and I could be wrong on this, but I think the SEC operates without the same checks. I don't know that there is a specific organization that audits the SEC in this way. I could be wrong on that. But if there is, my question then is, what the heck are they doing? Because we have an SEC chair who seems interested in bringing to the table as many court cases against crypto as possible, without ever defining when crypto falls within the confines of a security. And the SEC only has the authority to regulate securities, not other investments. There are other organizations that would handle other investments that are not technically securities. So all of this is a big problem. And what we need is Coinbase to lawyer up, get in the courtroom, and fight this battle like a gladiator, because that's how it works in the United States. You need a judge to rubber stamp, this is the way that it works. And we need him, me or her, the judge, to put their foot down and say, SEC, until you define what makes cryptocurrency a security to the point that you can run this test against any cryptocurrency and easily know without a doubt, you cannot bring another token into the courtroom. I mean, that's the type of thing that a judge could do. And he would have to be convinced of what I am, that the SEC is overstepping their bounds and basically out to do something that we haven't tasked them to do, which would be to kill crypto. That's not their job. Just the same as it wouldn't be their job to kill the stock market if all of a sudden there were 1,000 fraudulent stocks. It would be their job to define which ones are fraudulent so that other people can identify them And this is also very important for civil suits. If you buy an asset from somebody and it's a security, and the SEC is able to say, by this definition, it's a security, you, me, an American, is owed compensation because I was tricked into buying a security. If the SEC was really interested in taking care of Americans, then they would be looking into that more. They would be less concerned with criminalizing the act of issuing this unregistered security and more concerned with restitution for those affected. It could be that there's not really precedent to establish that, and a lot of these are just my feelings as an American about the situation. You know, I hear Ivan on his show sometimes say, man, if I was an American, I don't know, I think I'd be really mad. And I mean, yeah, we're pretty mad. No,
you're all mad.
So. You know, I don't wish anybody in a personal harm or anything like that. I just want to see that this taken care of professionally through the court system, and for there to be clear guidelines in place for us, while we also tighten up the leash on the SEC and we say, okay, this is your job, do your job.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, a lot to unpack there. A lot about America. Every time I talk to you, actually, Phil, it makes me realize there's so much about America that I don't understand or know at all. I live very much outside of society. I think even in Europe, I just jump from country to country and never get too involved with any politics or any news. Or I just live in my Twitter bubble and tweet about JavaScript. That's about all I know about. But yeah, thanks. I always learn a lot when we have these conversations, man.
Well, at the end of the day, I think that we can all agree that every single person on the planet deserves the right to work hard and to try to build a nice life for their family and the people they care about. Mm-hmm. And if you're in an industry where there's an organization that's directly affecting that and not talking to you with the respect that you deserve, like the SEC is not talking to the crypto users, the experienced crypto users, with the respect that we deserve, that's offensive. And it's not just America. Anywhere that this happens, it's bad. And I think, you know, I like to always think in terms of us globally as a human people, because there's no reason that because I'm in the United States, I deserve to have it worse, better, or any way different than anybody anywhere else. And obviously that's very difficult to reconcile, but I think that it's an ethic that we embody in crypto in such a magnificent and empowering way. Like, I never used to say these things before cryptocurrency because I didn't believe in this stuff until there was a mechanism that made it possible.
Yeah, you're right. It definitely feels like a one people vibe in Web3 and in crypto. And hopefully we can change the world together and make it a better place, as Michael Jackson said in a very famous song. Yes, Stephen was getting political here. I like this.
But this is a great follow-up here. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Stephen. Okay, we're super running over time, but the most important feature of every single episode is to highlight the great work of our community and people who are building with Moralis especially. So the one I wanted to highlight this week is, I don't know if you're going to be here. I gave you a shout out on Discord about an hour ago, but great work to Dima. I'm usually bigging up my React boys so much, but he actually built with Angular and Moralis, which is super cool to hear. And Bima, he made This is a hell of a URL, by the way, but it's bima-unstoppable-domain-resolver.netify.app. I'll maybe tweet this out after the show so you can check it out. But basically, it's a crypto or Web3, you would say, domain resolver. Something I just was learning more about today because I asked Phil. He sent me one of the lessons from his new Bull Run course on the Moralis Academy, and I was learning all about domains. But you're pretty impressed with the application, right, Phil?
Yeah. I thought I didn't get a chance to look at it as much as you did, but was I correct when I assumed that it's essentially a browser? I don't want to say extension or plugin because you build it into the browser itself when building it. And then your browser can resolve unstoppable domains just as though they were .com, .net, .io domains. which is
Yeah,
super.
yeah. I need to go and buy myself billgill.eth and see if I can check this out and get a bit of a better demo. But great work to
Be
Bima.
careful, Bill. Somebody's gonna snatch it out from under you and charge you.
Oh no! Don't do that! Don't do that! I'm gonna go back now. But yeah, no, great work by Bima. Yeah, so thanks for sharing that on the Discord. And if you're working on any dApps, please do share it. We have a Built with Moralis channel. You can share it there, or you can just share it straight in the podcast channel. We'd love to see it. We'd love to test them out, and we'd love to share them. Another cool one to talk about is I actually have a meeting on Tuesday with a nice lady called Dee about another application called, it's a metaverse game called Etern Meta. So I'll have more information for you on that next month, but the website looks super cool. The roadmap is very interesting. I think that I'm for some reason convinced, I think someone told me that they built with Moralis, so I've booked in a meeting with them anyway, so I can learn a bit more. And hopefully we can share that one with you next month with a bit more details. But with no more questions, you've done really well, actually. Thanks for managing the questions and the way through, Phil. That was great. And we're running over time. I'm going to sign off and say have a great weekend, have a great month. Keep building the dream, keep building the Web3 future. And I'll pass you over to Phil to round us off for the episode. Thank you very much for joining me, Phil.
Keep changing the world, guys. We'll see you at the next podcast.
Nice. Bye.